Hello anybody, and thanks for tuning in to Monday Morning Handicapping. This is a 2026 Kentucky Derby Prospects video where I'm going to be taking a closer look at one of the upcoming Kentucky Derby contenders. And the horse that I'm going to cover today is a horse by the name of Silent Tactic, whose sire or father was a horse named Tacitus, whose dam or mother was a horse named Magical Sign, whose dam sire, so the father of his mother, is a horse by the name of Gunrunner. Silent Tactic is trained by Mark Casse, and the jockey is Christian Torres. Here's just a quick look at the Kentucky Derby prospects that I've covered so far. If you're interested in any of these runners, go ahead and take a look for those videos. Just take note of the date that these videos were published, because obviously as time goes on and their career progresses, they're going to have more races after the date that these were published, so just keep that in mind. So as of now, March 13, 2026, Silent Tactic was purchased for $500,000 as a 2-year-old in training in 2025. He's currently tied for second place with 50 points towards the Kentucky Derby, and by rule of thumb, you're going to need about 50 points to enter, so he should have a spot in the starting gate. He's currently about 19-1 odds in the Kentucky Derby futures betting pools. He has 5 career starts, 2 wins, 3 seconds, with $774,000 in career earnings. He just finished second by a nose on March 1st in the Grade 2 Rebel Stakes at Oaklawn. And he appears to be making his next start on March 28th in the Grade 1 Arkansas Derby at Oaklawn Park. Now taking a look at the pedigree of Silent Tactic, his sire Tacitus, he was homebred and owned by Juddmonte Farms. He commands a $5,000 stud fee. Tacitus had 17 career starts, 4 wins, 4 seconds, and 3/3 with $4.3 million in career earnings. All his races were routes on dirt, so a mile or greater on the dirt surface. 8 of the 17 races he entered were 10 furlongs or longer. The Kentucky Derby is also 10 furlongs or a mile and a quarter, so the distance should be on Silent Tactic's side. All 4 of Tacitus' wins were at 8, 8.5, 9, and 10 furlongs, so a mile and a 16th, a mile and an eighth, and a mile and a quarter. Going 10 furlongs, or that Kentucky Derby distance, Tacitus ran it 7 times, had 1 win, 2 seconds, and 3/3, so only once off the board at this distance. He finished 3rd in the 2019 Kentucky Derby and 2nd in the 2019 Belmont Stakes. His dam or mother, Magical Sign, was a $140,000 purchase as a yearling in 2020, had 1 career start, placed 5th, going 8 furlongs on the turf, so 1 mile on the turf. Silent Tactic is this horse's first offspring, so keep an eye on this mare. This is her first offspring and is almost Kentucky Derby bound at this point, so she might be a good producer. The dam sire, so the father of Magical Sign, Gunrunner, had 19 career starts, 12 wins, 3 seconds, 2/3 with $16 million in career earnings. All of his 19 races were routes on dirt, so a mile or greater. He ran 3rd in the 2016 Kentucky Derby, won the 10 furlong Breeders' Cup Classic in 2017, a mile and a quarter race. He was inducted into the Racing Hall of Fame in 2024. He's the winner of the Eclipse Award for Horse of the Year and Champion Older Dirt Male in 2017. So just looking at the pedigree of Silent Tactic, I don't think the dirt or the distance should be much of an issue for Silent Tactic. The connections of Silent Tactic: the trainer Mark Casse has a career win rate of 16% from 25,000 starters. At the graded stakes level, he has a win rate of 13% from 2,000 starters. He has yet to finish in the top 3 from 10 starters in the Kentucky Derby. His best finish was 4th place in 2017. He was inducted into the Racing Hall of Fame in 2020, a 16-time Sovereign Award winner for Outstanding Trainer, which is the award they give out in Canada. He ranked 5th place in wins last year and 4th place in earnings last year. Silent Tactic's jockey Christian Torres has a career win rate of 14% from 6,100 starts. At the graded stakes level, a win rate of 10% from 122 starts. He's never ridden in the Kentucky Derby, but a solid jockey of only 26 years of age. He ranked 100th in wins last year and 27th in earnings last year. So now looking at Silent Tactic's races, his debut race, first ever race, was October 10th, 2025 at Woodbine Racetrack. Just some notes about the race. We'll watch the replay and then look at some of the rivals he faced. This race was 8.5 furlongs, so a mile and a 16th on the synthetic surface in a maiden special weight. Breaks with a slight hop from post number 1 of 6, which I can be very forgiving in a horse's debut race. He's down on the rails, sitting behind the leader by 1 length entering the first turn. Settles in 3rd by 2 lengths entering the backstretch, still running in semi-tight quarters but comfortably. Again, something else I like to see, especially from young horses. Can they run in tight quarters comfortably without throwing their head about and seemingly getting anxious? Commences his rally heading into the far turn, but has to tap on the brakes and wait for room. Finds an opening to swing 3 wide around the far turn and reaccelerates. Runs well down the stretch while routing on debut. Finished first by 2 lengths at odds of 9-2, so was not the favorite. And here's the splits of this race, so you can get a sense of how fast the race was early on and how fast they finished. The faster the race is early, the more likely those front runners are going to tire out and slow down. So just a quick glance, this race looked pretty evenly paced throughout. This horse was able to make up a little bit of ground on the leaders, but let's go ahead and watch this replay now. So we are horse number 1, a little slight hop at the start. Just see he got out just a little bit slow, stays down near the rail, so he's going to be saving ground around the turns. Kind of inches a little bit closer to this leader. Has good position. Again, saving ground, just a wall of horses here. So any of these horses that are going for the lead are going wider on the first turn. You can see the 3 getting a little bit keen, the jockey trying to pull him back. The 1 in tight quarters on debut, running comfortably, head is down. Jockey's not having to restrain him or urge him to move out of position. Seemingly keeping up with this tempo without much urging from the jockey. Pretty compact field here. This leader's 12-1, so not expected to do a whole lot here, a bit of a long shot. So this is where the 1 starts to creep up, but has nowhere to go. Tap on the brakes a little, you can see the jockey standing, holding the reins. Still nowhere to go, horses to his outside, horses right in front of him. Starts to re-accelerate here. Horses to his outside aren't advancing, so he gets this hold to swing out. Going a little bit wider on the second half of this turn. Here comes the stretch run. Gets in a little bit behind this new leader, the favorite, at 2-1. Not the fastest race, but again, it is most of these horses' debut, or at least very early in their career, and just grinds away. You can see them separating from the rest of the field, and Silent Tactic goes on to win pretty comfortably in the end. So now looking at some of the others in this race, that second place finisher, Silent Tactic beat him by 2 lengths. Horse named Valley of the Kings, 2-1 in this race. He was the favorite. This horse has had 4 career starts with 2 second place finishes. This horse was purchased for $50,000. This was his 3rd career start. He ran 6th next start at the same level, distance, and surface. 3rd place finisher, Silent Tactic beat him by 13 lengths. Horse named Proud Painter was 5-1 in this race. 3 career starts with 2 third place finishes. Homebred and owned. This was his 2nd career start. Ran 3rd next start, same level, distance, and surface. 4th place finisher, Silent Tactic beat him by 16 lengths. Horse named Forever Man, who is 10-1 in this race. He's had 6 career starts, a 2nd and 2 third place finishes. He was a $6,500 purchase. This was his 4th career start. He ran 5th, cutting back to 6 furlongs, dropping to maiden optional claimer on the same surface. Promising debut. While Silent Tactic faced mediocre competition here, he did show that he can run in tight quarters, handle some kickback, tap on the brakes, and regain his momentum, switch leads smoothly, and finish straight down the stretch. And again, this was all done on his debut race, so a pretty precocious horse seemingly after 1 race. 2nd career start, November 2nd, 2025 at Woodbine, 3 weeks since the previous race. 8.5 furlongs on the synthetic, the grade 3 gray stakes. Same track and distance, but a big step up in class. Breaks clean from post number 6 of 7. Enters the first turn in 4th place by 2 lengths in the 2-path. Handles running in tight space between horses around the first turn. 5th place by about 3.5 lengths as they enter the backstretch, in tight quarters for most of the way. In the same position as he commences his rally entering the far turn. Swings out to the 4-path as they enter the stretch. 5th place by about 2 lengths as they enter the stretch. Runs on well through the stretch to finish 2nd by 3/4 of a length at odds of 5-1. So again, not the betting favorite here. Here's the splits for this race, a relatively evenly run race yet again. Now let's watch this replay. So our horse number 6. Clean break. This time starting from the outside, so we'll see what kind of position the jockey tries to get. Field a little more spread out than the previous race. Looks like he's going to come in here, settle. About the 2-path, maybe starting to go out towards the 3-path, but out in the clear. Now you can see a horse coming up to his inside, and to his outside rather. In tight quarters here. Settling, you can see the jockey's body language, maybe just trying to restrain the horse a little bit, get a little bit of room, let this horse on his outside go ahead of him. Now in the clear a little bit more. This 1 starting to creep up. This is the big favorite, this 1 horse. Silent Tactic again creeping up. Just like last race where he had to tap on the brakes, he's boxed in, inside, outside, horses in front of him, nowhere to go. Maybe see if this 7 horse to his outside will creep up. He can swing around the outside. Still in between horses. Jockey starting to ask the horse to keep up though as the pack starts to accelerate. Still nowhere to go. Looks like he's going to have to swing out here. Again, this 1 down on the rail is the big favorite. 6, our horse out here, jockey in the yellow and blue cap, swing out wide. About 2 lengths off of the leaders, veers in just a little bit there. Favorite gets through on the rail. Silent Tactic grinding away like he did in last race. Going to come down to the wire. Just not quite able to get it done today. So looking at some of the others in this race, the first place finisher beat Silent Tactic by 3/4 of a length, a horse by the name of the Big Con. He was 4-5, the betting favorite in this race. This horse has had 2 career starts and 2 wins, so an undefeated horse. $155,000 purchase. This was his second and most recent start, so hasn't raced in about 4 months. Third place finisher, Silent Tactic, beat this horse by about 1.5 lengths, a horse named Wembley Avenue, who was 83-1 in this race. 3 career starts, no wins, but a second and a third, a $30,000 purchase. This was his third and most recent start and is still a maiden, which means has yet to win a race. Fourth place finisher, Silent Tactic, beat this horse by 5 lengths. Forgive me if I mispronounce the name, but a horse by the name of Buium, 8-1 in this race. 5 career starts, no wins, no seconds, 2/3. Homebred and owned. This was his 4th career start. Ran 8th, going 9 furlongs since this race. Same surface in an ungraded stake. Silent Tactic improved on his speed figures in this race, his first race against winners. The favorite, though a bit keen throughout, got a ground-saving trip along the rail. Silent Tactic still only lost by less than a length, going wider around the turns, while exhibiting athleticism, ability to take kickback, and make a run through the stretch and through the finish line. Third career start, January 3rd, 2026 at Oaklawn Park, 8 weeks later. 8.5 furlongs on the dirt this time. Fast track, so no moisture, no rain on the track. The Smarty Jones Stakes. First time shipping, first time dirt, first time racing outside a woodbine, first time actually on dirt and not a synthetic surface. Breaks clean from post number 3 of 8. Our horse will be number 4. There was one scratch in the race, so he's coming out of post position 3. 6th place, entering the first turn by about 3 to 4 lengths in the 3 path. Gets a bit keen and has to tap on the brakes nearing the backstretch. Falls to last by 5 to 6 lengths entering the backstretch. Runs comfortably between horses while receiving some kickback through the backstretch. Begins his rally entering the far turn, swinging 5 wide around the turn and entering the stretch. Enters stretch about 3 lengths behind the eventual winner. Fights on but fails to close the gap as he finishes second by 4.5 lengths at odds of 14-1, so a bit of a long shot this race. Here's the splits for this race. Again, another evenly run race, something a little harder to close into for a closer, but let's go ahead and watch this race now. So we're the 4 horse, but you can see the 3 got scratched out, so we are post position 3. Clean break, no bumping, got out quick. Bit of a mid-pack closing type, so we're going to go ahead and let some of these horses run out, take the lead. He's about 3-4 wide entering the first turn. Out in the clear, you can see the horse's head a little bit up, mouth a little bit open. The jockey's got a tight hold on the reins, pulling back, throwing his head a bit. First time on dirt, not at his home track. We'll look up at the top of the screen. See the jockey still got a tight hold on him. Now he's in last. In between horses yet again. Fraction's not overly fast here, so he's going to have to make up quite a bit of ground with horses who, in theory, should have quite a bit more stamina. Still in tight, horses to his inside, outside, and somewhat in front of him. Down on the bottom half of the screen, we can see our runner. Switch to the top. See, he's starting to commence a little bit of a rally. Jockey's not quite all out yet. Arms are starting to pump now. Here he comes on the bottom half of the screen. Has a nice opening to move to the outside, but with his closing type, going to have to swing wide, go wide around the turns, lose a little bit of ground. So you can see he's about 5-6 lengths wide. Just grinding away as he does. Here's the leader right here running away. See if he can catch him in time. He's not giving up. He's game. He's fighting on, but just no match for the leader, who had quite a bit of a head start in the stretch, but finishes second. Taking a look at those others in this race, that first place finisher who beat him by 4.5 lengths, a horse by the name of Strategic Risk, was 5-2 in this race. He has 8 career starts, 3 wins and a third, homebred and owned, also trained by Mark Cassie, who trained Silent Tactic. This was his 6th career start. Finished 10th in the Grade 3 Southwest Stakes and 6th in the Grade 2 Rebel Stakes since this race. Both of those races he finished behind Silent Tactic. Third place finisher, Silent Tactic, beat him by 3/4 of a length, a horse named Baytown Dreamer, 84-1 in this race. 11 career starts, 1 win, 1 second, 3/3, a $5,000 purchase. This was his 9th career start. He finished 11th in the Grade 3 Southwest Stakes behind Silent Tactic and 4th in the John Battaglia Stakes since this race we just watched. 4th place finisher, Silent Tactic, beat him by 5 lengths. Sleeping on Freedom, who was 9-2 in this race. 5 career starts, 2 wins and a second, a $60,000 purchase. This was his 4th career start. He finished 7th in his next and most recent start in the Grade 3 Southwest Stakes behind Silent Tactic. Silent Tactic ran into some traffic in the first turn, but once again showed a willingness to run between horses, take kickback, and make his move swinging out wide around the far turn. Fought on well in his first try on dirt, but was no match for the winner, who got a clean stalking trip in second throughout the race. 4th start, February 6, 2026 at Oaklawn Park, 4 weeks since the previous race. 8.5 furlongs on the dirt, a fast track, the Grade 3 Southwest Stakes. Breaks clean from post number 9 of 12. Our horse is number 11. There were 2 scratches in the race. Sits near last by about 5 lengths in the 2 to 3 path entering the first turn. Enters the backstretch in 11th by 7 lengths. Casually decreases the margin around the far turn in the 4 or 5 path. Jockey begins asking once they enter the stretch, so a little bit later in the race. Swerves in slightly during the stretch run, perhaps intentionally by the jockey to get his horse closer to rivals to inspire competitive spirit in the horse. Runs on strong to finish first by 3 lengths at odds of 12 to 1, so a bit of a long shot, and got the job done and won by 3 lengths. The splits for this race, you can see here, a little bit quick early, slowed down a little bit, but finished on nice and strong. The final 16th in 6.1 seconds, which translates to roughly a 24.4 second final quarter had they kept going, plus any additional slowing down they would have incurred. But now let's go ahead and watch this race. So we're horse number 11 in the 9th post out. Clean break. Horse a bit of a mid-pack closer, so he's going to fall back somewhere towards the back. Try to get a spot down on the rail to save ground around the turn. You can see our horse is in last right now. Getting down towards the rail, about the 3 path. Second to last. Definitely taking lots of kickback, lots of dirt in his face. We'll go to the top half of the screen. Out in the clear. No tight quarters. Nothing to get the horse overly anxious or keen about again. See the fractions a little bit quick. Honest enough up front. The favorite is on the lead, so if the horse is as good as the public thinks, maybe he can carry on this tempo. Silent Tactic will have to run him down later. Keep my cursor on him up top till he comes into the bottom half. He's still in the back of the pack. There is one horse off the screen way in last, so by all accounts he's in basically last of all the contenders at this point. So he's starting to creep up. You can see the jockey's not overly urging, just a little bit of pushing with his arms. Doesn't really ask the horse to really go until they enter the stretch. Being so far back seems a little late to me, but apparently the jockey knows what he's doing because we already mentioned he wins this. Swinging out wide, entering the stretch. Going to have to go around this wall of horses. Veered in just a little bit there, but you can see him just grinding away. Seemingly, or at least visually, looks like he's going a little bit quicker than his previous races, so that could mean he is improving. And just sails by these horses. Jockey a little celebration. So looking at some of the others he faced in this race, the second place finisher, who Silent Tactic beat by 3 lengths, horse named Soldier and Diplomat, who was 7 to 1 this race, has 6 career starts, 2 wins, a second and a third, was a $950,000 purchase. This was his 5th career start. Finished 5th in the Grade 2 Rebel Stakes since this race, finished behind Silent Tactic in that race. Third place finisher, Silent Tactic beat by 3 lengths, a horse named Butane, 3 to 1 in this race. 4 career starts, a win, 2 seconds, and a third, so never out of the top 3. A $1.15 million purchase. This was his 4th and most recent start, and his next start will be on Saturday, March 14th in the Virginia Derby, which is actually tomorrow. 4th place finisher, Silent Tactic beat by 3.5 lengths, a horse by the name of Rancho Santa Fe, who is 9 to 1 in this race. 5 career starts, 2 wins, homebred and owned. This was his 4th career start. Finished 8th in his next and most recent start in the Grade 2 Rebel Stakes behind Silent Tactic. Silent Tactic had a solid pace to close into and past tiring horses that were near the front early. This horse effortlessly closed the gap on the leaders around the far turn and ran on strong. This race was against solid Grade 3 competition comprised of several horses that had some serious hype coming into this race. Most recent start, March 1st, 2026 at Oaklawn Park, 3 weeks since the previous race. 8.5 furlongs, a mile and a 16th on the dirt, a fast track, the Grade 2 Rebel Stakes. Breaks cleanly from post number 6 of 9. Our horse is number 7. There was 1 scratch. Is last down on the rail, entering the first turn by about 4 lengths with the wall of horses near the lead. Horse gets a little bit keen as he creeps up towards the leaders entering the backstretch. Closes the gap with the leaders in the backstretch, running comfortably in between horses. About 2 lengths off of the leaders entering the far turn in the 2 path. Gets boxed in around the turn until they near the stretch where he swings out 4 wide for clearance. About 1.5 lengths off the leaders entering the stretch. Fights throughout the stretch, even seemingly gets the lead for a few strides, but finishes second by a nose at odds of 7 to 2. So again, not bet to favoritism. The splits for this race you can see pretty fast early, but then evened out in the later stages of the race. Now let's go ahead and watch this replay. So we're horse number 7, the 6th post from the rail, the 1 got scratched out. So again, another clean break. Bit of a closer, so going to sit back and find his place down near the rail. See this wall of horses charging for the lead. Some horses out 7, 8 wide here. Silent Tactic in the back. Receiving some kickback, I'm sure, but comfortable in the back. His preferred running style. See, he's a little bit keen yet again, in between horses, a little bit tight. but running on, not falling back, not overly anxious and creeping up, comfortable at the speed in tight quarters. You can see he's maybe starting to creep up just a little bit. Pretty honest pace, 23 seconds for the first quarter. He's creeping up here for sure, but again, horses to his inside, outside, and in front of him. Tight window to move out, but now horses are coming up outside of him, so he has nowhere to go, has to wait. This 3 is the eventual winner. So you can see the 3 already has a length and a half head start. He still can't swing out. Horse to his outside, horse in front of him. Now he finds a little opening. But you can see the advantage the 3 has if the 3 can't, or doesn't tire out rather. So now the race is on. It looks like Silent Tactic's going to go by, and maybe does for a bob or two, a couple of strides. Maybe about right here. Looks like he might have had the lead. Again, I think this race was only 3 weeks since the previous, so maybe a little tired and just flattens out a little bit, and the 3 gets the bob. So now looking at the others in this race, the first place finisher who beat Silent Tactic by a nose, a horse by the name of Class President, who was 8-1 in this race. And I think my next video might be on this horse. I'm not sure yet. Class President has 3 career starts, 2 wins and a second, so never out of the top 2 in his 3 race career. Homebred and owned, this was his 3rd and most recent start, is also about 20-1 along with Silent Tactic in the Kentucky Derby Futures wagers. Third place finisher, Silent Tactic beat by 5 lengths, horse named Litmus Test, who is the 3-2 favorite in this race. 6 career starts, 2 wins, 2 thirds, an $875,000 purchase. This was his 4th and most recent start. Next start will be on Saturday, March 14th in the Virginia Derby, again tomorrow. 4th place finisher, Silent Tactic beat by 8 lengths. Blackout Time is the name. He was 5-2 in this race, so pretty well bet. 4 career starts, a win in 2 seconds, a $210,000 purchase. 4th and most recent start, and this was his first start since October 2025. So if you want to forgive this horse for not having raced in 5 months or so, I would understand that. Silent Tactic ran well and lost by a nose to a horse in Class President that I think is a talented runner. Silent Tactic had a nice pace to close into and was well clear of the rest of the field, but came up short against a good horse after being boxed in around the far turn. Silent Tactic is showing he can improve his position throughout the race and still run on late. So that's all of his races. Now time for some positives and negatives I've taken away, starting with the positives. Has never finished out of the top 2 in 5 starts. Currently has 50 Kentucky Derby points, which should be good enough to at least get in the starting gate. A very good pedigree for the Kentucky Derby distance. He debuted at 8.5 furlongs, a mile and a 16, so was always intended for longer distances. Breaks clean from the gate, shows a willingness to run in traffic with kickback, seems to be improving or at least not regressing, can close the margin on the leaders efficiently through the race and still run on strong down the stretch, is essentially guaranteed a pace in the Kentucky Derby that will benefit his mid-pack closing style of running. Appears to be making his next start in the Grade 1 Arkansas Derby at Oaklawn Park on March 28th, which just tells me that this horse is fit and sound. This would give him 35 days of rest until the Kentucky Derby, and I did a Kentucky Derby race pace and track profile video. I think it's video number 0 in this playlist, and I talk about the last 12 winners of the Kentucky Derby and some patterns for the winners of that race, and on average, their most recent race before the Kentucky Derby was 32 days, so if he runs in the Grade 1 Arkansas Derby, that would be 35 days prior to the Kentucky Derby, so that just aligns with the average of the last 12 winners. Now for some of the negatives. Trainer Dale Romans on a podcast called I Ask They Answer, brought to you by the Horse Racing Radio Network, from March 7th implied that both Silent Tactic and Class President were not good enough to win the Kentucky Derby, so take that for what it's worth, but he is a veteran trainer, so when he said that, I listened. He has no Grade 1 or Grade 2 wins as of yet. Young but improving jockey with no experience riding the Kentucky Derby, so I'd be curious to see if there is a jockey change if this horse goes into the Kentucky Derby. Trainer has yet to finish in the top 3 with 10 Kentucky Derby runners. Horse has gotten a bit keen rounding the first turn, entering the backstretch in 2 of his races. You're not going to want to waste any energy in the Kentucky Derby to run against 19 other of the top 3-year-old horses. You're going to be wanting to run as efficiently as possible. Is a bit of a mid-pack closer, so while he has shown he can run in traffic, he will need to navigate his way through a field of 19 other runners, so that can just ask for trouble. But this horse is seemingly athletic enough to swing out when he needs to into his openings and make his runs late. So now to rank this horse, here's all the rankings of prospects that I've covered. Of course, these are just the horses that I've covered in this playlist. I'm placing Silent Tactic 4th. He's got a great pedigree for distance, efficient closer that can navigate traffic and kickback, and always finishes strong. Very curious to see what Nearly does in his next start, because I could have put Silent Tactic 3rd. Again, these are just the horses that I've covered so far, but I'm placing him 4th. I think he is a legitimate contender regardless of what Dale Roman says. I think this horse could keep improving, and very much looking forward to seeing him in his next start. That's it for my video on silent tactic. Thanks to everybody for watching. As always, feedback is appreciated. Please, if you would like, subscribe and or share with friends, that would be great. Help spread the word. I always mention that my target audience is for folks that are relatively new to the sport. So if you're a veteran of the sport and you think I'm explaining things that are seemingly obvious, I'm just trying to ingratiate new players to the sport so that they can understand better and start to come up with opinions of their own and take matters into their own hands when it comes to making picks and reading the racing form. If you do know anyone that's a newcomer or you're a newcomer yourself, I have a couple of playlists that I dedicated for the newcomers that I had trouble finding on YouTube when I was getting started. One of those playlists is How to Read a Racing Form. It's 10 videos. They're a couple minutes each, and I just break down each section of the racing form, talk about how you can decipher it to help you make an informed decision on any given race. I also have one called Betting on Horse Racing, where I go over all the wagers that a track typically offers, what it is, how much it costs you based on your ticket structure, how you can structure it in various ways, and I wrap it up with a few things that I look for when I like a horse on a given race day, how I might play that horse depending on its odds, and how I might structure a ticket around it. Coming up next, I'm definitely going to be doing more 2026 Kentucky Derby prospects videos. Again, I think that class president horse might be next, but I'll take a look at the other runners that I haven't covered yet. I might do leg 2 of the Kentucky Derby pick 4. There's a pick 4 sequence that ends on the Kentucky Derby. I just took a look at the Turf Classic, which is the turf race right before the Kentucky Derby, broke down the last 12 runnings of that race and looked for some patterns that I might be able to use when coming up with the pick 4 ticket. So I think that's going to be useful for me on Kentucky Derby Day. I'm going to look at the race before the Turf Classic, see if I can find some patterns. I may also just handicap some upcoming races, which I've done before if you look through my channel. And I could always resort back to the Pedigree playlist. I have a playlist where I look at some of the top sires in the game right now and see where their offspring are excelling on the racetrack in order to get a little edge on some of those first-time starters when there's not a lot of race info to go off of. I also have a friend who has t-shirts available with this logo across the chest. If anyone's interested, just reach out to me and I can hook you up with some of those. But again, that's it for this video on Silent Tactic. I think he's quite a contender. Very much looking forward to his next race and the Kentucky Derby in general. But thanks again to anybody for watching. Please subscribe to this channel. I'd very much appreciate it. Good luck if you're playing the races, and I'll see you next time.